Welcome to Stormy Willow, where we explore the paranormal, celebrate the odd, and never trust the living. I'm your host, Adele, Bad Mama Jamma.
Oh, that's a good one. And I'm your host, Sarah, Nervous Noodle.
Eh, I would say that's accurate too.
That's very accurate, especially for this week. I've
Yeah.
been one nervous noodle this week, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Adele knows all about it.
Yes, it is. It is March, right? Like a lion, out like a lamb. Still seems kind of liony, but we'll see.
Yeah, it seemed last week was fierce, man. There's just there's no sugarcoating it for me. It was like when I made it to Friday. I just had the energy just to sit there like catatonic on the couch. And that's where I was.
Well, I think there's a crew in Antarctica that might be feeling similar with the weather
Okay,
days today.
awesome. Let's hear about them.
Yeah, so Booger News comes from the New York Post and calling this one the Iceman Unhingeth.
Oh,
In the heart of Antarctica, on the edge of the world where the sun has just disappeared for months and the cold can peel skin like fruit.
ooh.
9 South African researchers are trapped, not just by ice, not just by isolation, but with something far more terrifying. A man who has snapped on their team. He's going kind of crazy. All right, so this is not a horror movie. This is Santa, which is SANAE 4, but it's the South Africans' Antarctic base. Uh,
Okay.
and it's perched in Queen Maud land. I didn't realize Antarctica had different sections like that, but they're
I
in
just
Queen
kind of
Maud
all
land.
put it as one big thing,
Yeah,
which
I'm
is
like,
not right.
I didn't
I
realize
don't
they
know.
had states or
I don't
whatever.
want to go there.
Yeah,
Oh,
um, but this poor team, they're reachable only after a 15-day trek involving a plane, an icebreaker ship, and a snowcat convoy. So they're very, very remote, is what we're trying to say. It takes
oh
days
my
to reach them.
God.
The team arrived in December of 2024, expecting a year of research, camaraderie, and probably some frostbite. But what they got was a descent into psychological terror. So they arrived in December, and by February, by February 2025, things began to spiral. So not off to a good start. One man described in leaked internal emails as increasing was described as increasingly aggressive, unstable, and violent. Allegedly began harassing and sexually assaulting his colleagues.
Oh
Multiple
no.
team members reported being attacked, verbally abused, and subjected to escalating death threats. One film, one female researcher sent out a desperate plea, quote, "His behavior has become increasingly egregious. I remain deeply concerned about my own safety, constantly wondering if I might become the next victim. And now,
Oh.
here's the truly chilling part. They have no way out. With Antarctica plunged into its deadly winter and supply missions halted, they're stuck until this coming December. Like
I'm
December
sorry, what?
2025. They are stuck. Um,
Oh
so
no.
yeah, that's like 9 more months of total darkness, brutal cold, and sharing a base with someone they fear could snap at any moment. Uh, the man at the center of the storm has reportedly admitted to at least some of his actions and is said to be receiving psychological support. I don't know.
How?
I have no idea. But whether that means anything meaningful in a place where help is 15 days away, and not to mention like all the ice you have to go through.
Ugh.
Uh, anyway, South African authorities have confirmed the assaults and say they're monitoring the situation daily, but realistically, there's no evacuation plan unless someone is near death. Uh, yeah, so the team, once a tight-knit crew of scientists, now sleeps with one eye open in a steel and ice research base surrounded by thousands of miles of frozen wilderness.
That sounds like my personal hell. First of all, to be in the cold like that,
Yeah, it
and let
sounds like
alone
the start of like
psycho.
The Thing or like some horror movie.
Well, how did they get word out on? I guess they were just like, I need help. Let me just write the New York Post. Like,
I don't
somebody
know
help.
how it leaked, but they've been communicating via email. I think it was an email that that one woman sent saying that she was
Oh,
afraid. But
they need to
I
get him
think these
out.
are like email communications. I'm sure they could probably still call each other, but they at least have the internet. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like a truly nightmare situation, one that I'm sure nobody planned for. It's like, okay, do I have my mittens? Yeah. I'm sure they weren't like, do I have my taser or bear spray?
Yeah, no kidding.
Coworkers who have lost their minds in the isolation. Like,
That's terrible.
yeah. It
I
would
mean,
make a really good
just
Ridley Scott movie, though. Just putting
it
it out.
would be a great movie, but I really feel for them. I mean, especially just being in those conditions alone.
I mean,
Oh,
and they've only been there since this past December. It's
I
like
mean, it hadn't
four
really been that
months.
long. Oh.
Yeah, it's been like 4 or 5 months.
I mean, maybe I would probably be like, I'm gonna need somebody to come and rescue me. I'm done.
Yeah. Well, best of luck to them. Hope they make it to December.
Yeah. God, that's awful.
Things kind of calm down. But
I feel
yeah,
so bad for them.
it's pretty dire. That's pretty wild. Ugh.
Mm.
But with that wildness, do we want to hear about
Well, let's hear it
the
last
astro
week of
forecast?
March. I mean, let's hear it.
All right, I do have the astro weather for you guys. So this forecast is for March 23rd through the 30th.
All right.
Vibe check. A foggy front rolls in Sunday, followed by emotional drizzle, reflective skies, and a Saturday eclipse thunderclap. Sunday brings the
Okay.
first winds of a whole new era.
A whole new
Buckle up,
era, you
witches.
say?
Yeah. So here we go.
Okay. Oh shit.
Sunday, March 23rd, Moon conjunct Saturn in Pisces. Cold front moving in, emotionally heavy with a chance of self doubt. You might wake up feeling like you're walking through wet concrete. It's a serious, introspective day. Don't panic. This is Saturn helping you sort your shit out. Emotionally and spiritually, that is. Use it wisely. So, vibes will be gloomy skies. That's so funny. We have gloomy skies today. Everything
Ah,
else is supposed to be blue skies. And but solid ground at least. Most
okay.
affected will be Pisces, Cancer, Capricorn, and Aquarius.
Wah, wah.
Monday, Sun conjunct Mercury retrograde in Aries. Cloudy
Oh
skies
shit.
with brief breaks of clarity. Mercury retrograde meets the Sun, casting light on old ideas, past conversations, or truths you missed the first time. It's not clear sailing, but it's progress.
Okay.
Vibes, foggy morning, clearing by afternoon. So, not too bad. Most affected will be Aries, Gemini, Virgo, and Libra. Tuesday, Mercury retrograde, sextile Pluto. Storm clouds gather, then lift, bring truth in their wake. Conversations could get deep fast. You might learn something that shifts your perspective entirely. Secrets want out. Vibes brooding with the cleansing thunderstorm. Most affected are going to be Capricorn, Scorpio, Pisces, Gemini, and Virgo. And then Wednesday, we have the balsamic moon in Pisces.
A balsamic man. What the hell
Delicious.
is that?
It's misty skies and soft emotional showers. This is soul weather. So it's quiet, nostalgic, and just a little bit sad in the healing way.
Oh.
So kind of like sad, cozy, I guess. Perfect for
Yeah, maybe make you a
journaling.
salad with balsamic dressing.
Yeah, sure, that works too.
You knew I was gonna do it.
I knew it. Perfect for journaling, resting, or finally letting go of that thing you've been clinging to.
Oh man.
Vibes, rainy window kind of energy.
Rainy window. I just see you looking out the window like,
Exactly, it's that. Most affected are going to be Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, Virgo.
yep. See, I knew it. That's such a cancer thing.
I'm just
Such a cancer
saying,
thing.
as a Leo, I've been through it the past 6 months, and to not see us on here, I'm celebrating. I have not once been mentioned in any of this. Uh, Thursday, we have Venus retrograde re enters Pisces and conjunct Neptune. That's a lot going on, but what it means is romantic fog thickens. Watch your step.
Ew.
Beautiful illusions float in today. You might fall in love with someone, something, or some idea, but reality might not match the fantasy. Creative magic?
It never does.
Commitments? Not so fast. Vibes? Enchanted but slippery. Most affected are going to be Pisces, Taurus, Libra, and Sagittarius.
Okay.
All right, and then Friday we have the balsamic moon continuing. Uh,
He laughs. I'm sorry. The balsamic.
Still waters before a storm. Things feel quiet, maybe a little too quiet.
Oh.
This is the cosmic inhale. Before the eclipse, exhale. Take the day to prepare emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Vibes, deep calm with distant thunder. Most affected, Pisces, Aries, Cancer. All right, now the
I knew
weekend.
it.
Saturday, we have a new moon solar eclipse in Aries, plus a Mercury retrograde enters Pisces. Cosmic thunderclap. I'm going to have to add some special effects right here with emotional aftershocks. The eclipse,
Emotional aftershocks. Oh no.
the eclipse hits like lightning, shocking, fast, and illuminating. Big changes are possible, especially around identity and purpose.
I mean, I
Then
do have a half marathon that day. What does that mean?
Well, here we then Mercury slides into Pisces and everything blurs again. So maybe you should hydrate. Don't pass out there.
Take it real easy, girlfriend.
Vibes electric, then dreamy. Oh man, like a lot of us are affected. Most affected Aries, Pisces, Leo, Aquarius, Libra, Capricorn, Cancer. That's like half of us.
Oh,
And then finally, Sunday, March 30th, Neptune enters Aries. 14-year transit begins. A wind shift signals a whole new era. This is a big day. Neptune leaves watery Pisces behind and lights a fire in Aries. This is a big deal. Spiritual clarity meets bold action. It's time to lead with your weird. So,
all
vibes for
right.
first
So
breeze
I
of
basically
something
will be
big.
from now to 57.
Yes. Yep. Uh-huh. Start keeping track over the next 14 years of what's going on. So this is the very first breeze of something big. And most affected is going to be Aries, Pisces, Leo, and Sagittarius.
Okay.
All right, so weekly outlook. Sunday starts off heavy and introspective. Midweek fog and feels gives way to Saturday's eclipse, lightning strikes. And then Sunday ends the week with a brand new spiritual weather pattern.
And we got a birthday to celebrate this week.
We do.
My husband, Stephen Peanut, happy
Speaking of Aries,
birthday.
yeah,
His birthday's on the eclipse.
that's kind of big.
It's
That's
kind
kind
of big.
of sounds like his mom's
Kind of
been trying
cool.
to get in touch.
Yeah, Stephen, poor Peanut. Like my husband, if you don't know him, he's super chill. He's one of the most laid back people like you will ever meet. And Universe has just been beating his little tail up this week. He's like, "What did I do?" He gets a message from our dad, and now he's got this eclipse on his birthday. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
He's about to have like his own like mechanics TV show.
Something. I don't know, but he's just so chill with it. He's like, "All right, man.
Do
Let's
it.
go."
I'm ready to ride the thunder.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Let's see.
That's
It
some
sounds like
Steven
something big
energy.
is coming for everybody. So,
Yeah, hopefully it's big good, not big bad. Because like, let's face it, we're that's just where our mind is right now, right? We're
yeah.
just like, whatevs.
Maybe this will break the cycle of all this bullshit over the last millennia.
Maybe. Let's
Because
hope.
I remember like the day it felt like the lights went out. And that was whenever I was watching TRL, like in the year 2000, and everything just went really pop, like out of nowhere, it seemed. It was
That's when
insane.
you knew.
Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, all these people just as if just out of nowhere. And I was like, wow, this century's gonna suck. And it has so far. Anyway,
Well, maybe it's time for a new era.
I hope so. I really hope it is. Let's
So
do it.
yeah.
Out with the old and with the new.
Yeah, that's what I say. The olds, I'm over it.
Let's
I
do
think
it.
we all are. I don't know anybody that's been really thriving this last decade or plus. So
Yeah,
I think we're all ready for a shift of energy.
sure thing.
Oh, well, speaking of shifts and energy
But you're
and
working the
time,
late shift tonight.
as a matter of fact, I am.
Wendy's late. Wendy's late nights.
So if you guys will recall last week, I got our first ever WTF,
Hmm.
and boy, do I have something for you guys.
All right, we'll see
So,
about that.
all right, you ready?
We're ready to be mind blown.
All right. Well, I have entitled this No Time Like the Wrong Time. All right. So I want to give a huge shout out to my friend Deb. This is for the Deb gave me this idea. So Deb,
Okay.
thank you for this. So Deb sends me this text message and she's like, "Girl, have you watched this TikTok that's called so and I want you guys to check this TikTok out because it's great. It's called Spooky Scary Story Time is the name of it. And the handle is at Ashley and it's ASHLEE and then Inc. And so she tells like any kind of like spooky weird story, right? And so one of her stories has gone viral. And so you listeners may have heard this story. So if you haven't, I'm going to tell you about it and then we're going to dig in. I'm sorry, guys. I wrote this two different ways, but I'm actually going to combine the two stories. So one, I want you to check out this podcast. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. And then, or not podcast, I'm sorry, this TikTok. And then I want you to check out one of my favorite podcasts, Spooked, um, which I'm sure you guys have heard. I hope you've listened to Spooked. It's so good. So I'm going to tell you about this TikTok, and then I'm going to also tell you about this. If you go to spookedpodcast.org, if you go to season 1, episode 2, Lost in Time, the Time Warp Saloon, I want you to listen to that one too, because I'm going to combine these two stories. So, anyway, I'm going to talk to you first about the podcast Spooked. So, in this episode, if you've ever listened to it, it's my favorite Spooked episode, and I'm going to tell y'all, they have some amazing ones. So, in this episode, this guy and this lady, they basically um are driving, right? Like they're driving late at night and they basically like they're in the southwest. And so they're driving along one night, like an empty highway. They need to go to the bathroom. And you know how that is. You get on a highway, there's no lights, no traffic. Oh, there's no gas stations in sight. You have to freaking pee, like so bad. And so out of nowhere, they see like this neon light flickering ahead.
The
And so
great
it looked like kind
Coca-Cola.
of, yes, like it looks like an old saloon, right? It has like, we're thinking like a creaky wooden porch, glowing like beer light signs in the window. A kind of place that looks like it you would see in a ghost town, right? Like
Like the
or
double deuce.
like the Double Deuce, exactly.
Yeah.
Or a Quentin Tarantino fever dream. I don't know.
Right. I like the bar and the From Dusk Till Dawn or something.
Yes.
Funny,
Or
funny you brought him up. His birthday is this Thursday.
I saw that and I thought it was kind of funny how I did a little nod there.
Yeah,
So,
that was nice.
yeah.
Nice tie-in.
Yeah.
Happy birthday,
Yeah.
Quentin.
Happy birthday, Quentin. So, of course, they're exhausted. You got to freaking pee. And so, like, let's just pull over. It's now or never, right? And so they walk inside and it was like the storyteller tells it like they were back in time. The music was old, the decor was super retro vibe, and they describe it like walking into like a postcard from like the 1950s. They said there was like a band that was playing, there was a couple dancing, there were people like drinking and just just hanging out or whatever. So one of them goes to the bathroom and one's like, well, I'm going to order a beer, while I'm here. And so the bartender is polite, but they said kind of off, like they can't really describe describe it, but just kind of, a little off. And so they basically, they said it was like he was kind of reading from a script or something. It seemed unnatural. So anyway, they both notice, like, when she comes back from the bathroom, he's drinking a beer and they're kind of sitting there, and they notice, like, no one will look at them, like, at all. And they're like, that's kind of weird. Like, nobody is looking at us. But they're like, well, we're
That's so
probably
weird
just
for out here, though.
well, and that's what they were thinking too. Like, maybe it's because, like, we're not from here, or we're
Yeah.
maybe tired. So they just kind of they don't think too much
I,
about it,
I too have
know.
noticed that, though, what they're talking about in the Southwest. And I think Dad's noticed that too. Like, it's just a
Maybe,
different culture out here. Like, it's not as English as the East Coast.
yeah,
It,
maybe that's what it
People are a bit more
is.
standoffish and kind of mind their own business more.
Well, so then they're like, okay, well, we're gonna just get this beer. I'm going to the bathroom. We're ready to take our check, right? And so then, of course, the bartender calls last call, and that's when they said the room shifts and the lights kind of dim slightly and the air changes, like something underneath the building, like, just kind of woke up. Is how they described it. I have never felt that
Mm-mm.
ever. Um, but they said all of a sudden the bartender, he heads for the door and then he's gone. And like the music is completely silent. The neon beer signs have vanished and the building is not there at all. Like it just like boop,
Just
it's not
here.
there.
They're just
And
like
all of a
standing in the
sudden
middle of no,
they're
no.
standing in the middle of an empty field. No road, no gravel, just dirt and grass. Nothing. And so they
No.
get back to the highway or whatever. They flag someone down and tell them what happened. And when they return to the area in daylight, nothing's there. Just open land, not even ruins. It's like it never, ever existed.
I don't know, man. That's my whole thing about consciousness, though, right? Like, how do we know anything is real at any time? Like, you can
Yeah.
really get like freak yourself out if you think too hard.
Well, and it's like you could chalk it up to exhaustion or a dream or even like a weird hallucination.
But like a
Or
mass hallucination,
it could be something else,
right? Right.
but it's not because I'm going to tell you another story that happened. So this happened. All right, this is the spooked story. Happened in the Southwest. Okay, now this is the TikTok story I was telling you about that happens in Georgia. So we're talking two separate parts of the country here. Now this story takes place in 2007. Okay, and we're going to head to Valdosta, Georgia. And so it's 2007. A woman named Maria is traveling with her siblings. So there's five of them. So they pull off, like, you do. You pull off to a remote area to get gas. It's late. They're tired. It's by a gas station. Let's go. So like when they pull in, they notice like the pumps are retro and the prices are low, and there's like hand painted signs. The kind of place that kind of feels frozen in time. But they're like, well, maybe that they want it to look like that, like like an old timey gas station. So none of the siblings are thinking this is weird or anything. And so they go inside, use the bathroom, and they notice just like the merchandise isn't from this time, and it's like, okay, but maybe that's still just a part of the appeal. And so they go to use their debit card, and the cashiers like didn't know what to do. They were like freaked out because there's not a reader, didn't know what a debit card was or how to use it. And so they end up paying with cash, and they're like, it's just like the air, all the siblings said the air just kind of felt real heavy. It was quiet. There was no like small talk or radio, just like this thick, weird tension. And so they're like, let's just get the fuck out of here. So they get in the car, they leave, they drive away. Well, the weird thing is, they notice that their phones all have died. Their GPSs will not load. And they're like, the time just feels off. Like everything feels off. And so they're like, let's just keep driving. And so they said they had to drive for miles before everybody felt normal and their devices started working. So they're like, what? So like, let's go back. Like, let's just, let's go back. So they go back. But guess what? The gas station, it's gone. Not boarded up, not closed. fucking gone. Like it never existed. Just like the saloon and the other story I was telling you.
Did did they go see if their pee is still there? Like, is it just
I don't
the
know.
parking lot now? Like, dude, we
Let's
we
see if
just
that turd I dropped is still out.
like I blew up that toilet, but it's just an empty parking lot.
Then that would happen if we were going on that road trip.
Oh my god.
Now, this story, this is the one that has gone viral on TikTok, and it's about to get even weirder, okay? So, Ashley, that I was telling you about earlier, who's the creator on TikTok, shares this story that Maria had shared with her. And suddenly, like, messages just start rolling in. Now, one is from a man who he wanted to remain anonymous, so he goes by John Doe. And he says that his dad worked at a gas station in that exact same area in the early 80s. And he says his father used to tell strange stories about time travelers, that people would just show up in weird clothes talking about things and like trying to pay with things that we didn't even have yet. And so no one believed his dad because John's dad was an addict. Like he had, his military veteran. He just kind of took to drinking and stuff to kind of deal with things. And so when he would come home drunk and stuff and tell these stories, his mom and the kids were like,
You're drunk.
dumbass,
Yeah.
no, like stop. But he said that he and his sister remember this story because they had a friend spending the night, and that he comes home and like just confused, and like obviously they're just assuming that he's drunk again because that's just what he does. And he was like, there were these 5 time travelers that came in, tried to like pay with this thing. They didn't look like they were from here. He's like, I swear they were explaining Maria and her sibling. So,
That's
who
weird.
knows? Could it be that John remembers his dad like describing that same gas station? Or like, I mean, he described it down to the signage and like the location. And like, it just sounds like that could be it. Now, Ashley's really good about saying, also we have to be a critic. Like, could this be somebody that's also trying to pull our leg or something
Yeah.
like that? So they had asked for him to supply a picture of his dad so she could show it to Maria, but he was trying to say like he couldn't really find one or whatever. So it would be really cool if he could find one, and it really is. But like Ashley does a really good job, I think, of being a skeptic too. To be able to listen, it could maybe, but you have to kind of take, all
Right.
of it in. So I wanted to tell you these 2 stories because they're very similar. And they took place in the United States 2 different times, 2 different places. But what do we think this is? Because there are a lot of theories, and I know we've talked about this a lot, but I really wanted to talk about some things. Like, do we believe in like time travel? Like, what do we think? So, one theory, it's theory time, is called a time slip. And so that is the idea that time isn't a straight line, right? But it plays on a loop. It's like layered, a layered spiral, if you will. So under the right conditions, and this is when, guys, we got to really put on these thinking caps. So under the right conditions, they're like maybe even electromagnetic fields, trauma, or even intention, these layers can rub together. And if you're in the right place at the wrong moment, you can fall through. I don't know how that happens. I don't think
I
it's
mean, it's
not.
just as reasonable as unreasonable
I
with how
think
much
so
we
too.
don't really know about time. Aren't we more and more considering time the 4th dimension anyway?
It
Like,
can be.
I don't know.
I can't prove it or disprove it.
I mean, the thing we just literally posted about this past week, retroactivity, is kind of on this idea that not
Well,
only that,
yes,
it's like the interaction of the past and the future and present. Like, I have no idea. This, to me, this type of idea is where it all breaks down, like, everything we think about life and death and time. All that, to me, is like, this is that trippy area that we just don't know much about.
but it's so fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, to me, everything once you start to get it to these like quantum physics time kind of ideas, everything's just as practical as not.
I love quantum physics. It confuses the shit out of me, but I think it's so fascinating.
To me, it just
Um,
reiterates how little we actually know about
yeah.
the way the universe
Well,
works.
let me tell you a few other possible theories. So another theory, and we talk about this a lot with hauntings. We talked about it last week. Residual energy. So, like a recording that's imprinted on a location. So we talk about this a lot, like whenever something really tragic has happened in history and time. Like, it's basically gets imprinted on the things, and like the ground or what have you. And if certain places basically echo a moment in time, if you will. So it kind of plays back like a tape decades later. So like with the haunting, like of the house we talked about in England, if really horrible things that happened there, like the monk did or whatever, that energy can really be in that ground, and like that energy replays like a record over and over and over again. So we see that a lot with the hauntings that we cover. um, so I mean, it could have been that. And then there's another. We're gonna kind of get a little wilder, if you can imagine that. But have you ever heard of places that are gateways? So basically, they're like these intersections.
What, like a
Okay.
port key?
So basically, okay, like you have like a parallel timeline, right? And
Mhm.
so these intersections in between are what we refer to as alternate realities, right? So maybe like the saloon and the gas station still do exist in another version of the world. And for just a second, the two worlds overlap.
Well, yeah, I mean, doesn't this kind of get into like M theory and a multiverse theory,
Yeah.
right? Essentially, like we have
And I don't
infinite
understand how it
different universes and versions of ourselves potentially that maybe sometimes accidentally collide when they should.
cross. Yeah.
Or maybe they
Like a
should.
glitch,
I mean, I don't know.
like a
Maybe
glitch in the
maybe they aren't
matrix,
supposed to. What?
you know? But I think time is so trippy. Like when you sit and you really think about time. Like what is it?
Yeah, it's like really
Nobody
nothing but a
knows.
unit of measurement, but obviously it's everything more than that.
It's just
Weird.
crazy. And then I have one more theory for you. Now, some physicists even entertain this idea of closed time-like curves. And so what that means is, let's say, they call it bubbles in space-time that allow for time to basically travel without breaking physics.
That's
But
fast.
those are supposed to exist around black holes, not roadside bars in Georgia.
Hmm.
I had not heard of this one. Um, I don't know how that would even work.
I mean, I don't know either. Is that at that point, are you maybe using a craft of some kind that would be the bubble? I don't know. I'm not intelligent about any of this shit,
Or are
by the
you
way.
near, or are these places near black holes?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I've never heard of this bubbles in space time.
I mean, why not?
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. But the one thing I do know for sure, like absolutely for sure, the universe is weirder than we think.
If
And
it's not real at all, all of this could be inside one person's mind right
well,
now.
you want to hear something even crazier? And I was gonna cover this, and I might cover it in a later episode. But I was listening like to this guy, and we talked about Dolores Cannon. We did a whole episode. I forgot what number it is. It was a great one. But he channels Dolores. Like he used to teach with Dolores. Now he channels with Dolores on the other side. And he has this theory that we're all dead. Like right now, like we're dead.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that
A lot of
whenever
times I
we
kind of wonder.
And he's like, so when we die here on this planet, he's like, you just go right back to who you already are and you're already alive. He's like, all you did, like his theory is basically you are in like this other universe and you're like, oh, I want to go and learn about whatever. And so like you die off and send yourself here to learn whatever lesson it is, and you're basically asleep in the other world or whatever, and like this is all just an illusion anyway. Like
Oh
they're like
shit.
Earth is just a school, a
So
learning.
it really is like the Matrix. You're plugged in while you're here, but you're
Yeah.
actually on the ship asleep.
Yes. Exactly.
Who's to
And
say?
he's like, basically you're just sent here to learn. He's like, Dolores talked about Earth being basically just one big school, and he says that's true too. He's like, I mean, and spoiler alert, if you never watch Lost, cover your ears if you're ever planning on watching Lost. But it's like in Lost, they were all dead, and so it's like that's what he thinks we all are.
Like the Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
You were gay
So
the whole time.
these
Fortune Feimster said.
so these theories I think are so fascinating. I believe it happened to both of these people. I believe they definitely experienced some kind of time slip. I'm gonna say they experienced a time warp because I think that's more fun. And I don't know whether it was a time slip, residual energy, a gateway, or a closed timeline curve. But I think they definitely experienced something.
I think they definitely experienced something. I mean, even if it was just like a delusion in both of their minds, it's still like, what the fuck caused that? That's still fascinating in and of
Yes.
itself, even if there wasn't a physical building there, even if they both just thought it was and were interacting with it. Like, what the hell
And
was
it was
that?
like more than one person. You know what I mean? So it's like they all experienced it.
It
So
would,
it's not
it would also be really fun to be like someone driving by while they're experiencing this and then
like,
seeing them like an empty parking lot, like acting like they're buying stuff and interacting with the cashier. And you're just like, whoa, those people are on drugs, but they're not.
right? And it makes you think about the people you pass that you think are doing drugs. Like maybe they're just having like a time slip.
Maybe they're like in a 50s diner right now.
Like I don't know, but I believe that they experienced some rift in time for sure. Um, I don't know how it happened, but I believe it happened. And especially with the TikTok with the guy who says he thinks it's his dad, and I hope he's not playing a joke. Like I hope he does have evidence. I hope. Um, wow. Like to be on a whole other side of that, like I think is really trippy.
But some people also speculate that things like that, once you start getting into different dimensions, like you can time hop because you did die. So, like, some people might say that those people died in a car crash and time hopped to the next one they're alive in or something. Like, I don't know. That's where it gets really weird once you start talking about multiverses and the breakdown of time. We don't know we don't know shit about shit. It's just all I'm saying.
And like
Only
I
like
watch,
just now scratching the surface of all this stuff with quantum mechanics.
uh, it's crazy. It's trippy. But I really want you to check out Spooked. God, you're gonna love Spooked. I know here I am like promoting Spooked on our podcast, but I love Spooked. And then also, please go check out the TikTok that Ashley's doing on Spooky Scary Story Time. She's awesome, and I love the stories. And this one is like really developing. So, I mean, once we air, there might even be more that has happened. So it's definitely one that you might want to check with your TikTok and stay up to date to see like what we find out. But I will tell you, if you do ever find yourself inside a place that feels way too quiet, maybe a little too old, too still, and someone calls last call, don't wait around because some doors don't lead back.
Mm,
Ooh.
cool. Good one.
I love it. Time travel, I'm here for it. I think it's amazing. it trips me out.
Mhm.
It's so cool. I'm
Yeah.
a believer,
I guess
100%.
my thing too is like that's kind of an argument with me being an idiot and not knowing anything about physics.
Whatever, you're not an idiot. You're so smart.
I don't know anything about physics or quantum physics, but sometimes I'm like, but don't these laws and principles loosely only apply to the Earth? Like, but once you get into quantum physics, to me, it's like a whole different playground.
It's crazy.
And to me,
I mean,
that still doesn't make sense.
you could spend your whole life just trying to figure one little teeny tiny theory and you'll never figure it out. Like it's just
It's like
like
Pete Holmes, he's one of my favorite stand-up comedians. I completely agree with him, and I remember thinking this in like, I don't know, middle school when we were learning about like elements and atoms and stuff. He was like, that makes no sense that everything's made of molecules. How do these molecules that are me know it's me molecules and not you molecules or table molecules? And I completely agree. I'm like, I don't fucking understand that.
how
It
does it
makes no
know?
sense. It makes no sense to me.
It makes no sense. But
Everything's
it's
shrinking while
fascinating.
everything's expanding at the same time. It makes no sense. I agree wholeheartedly with him. It just makes no fucking sense.
And if you sit, like, if I sit here and really start thinking about some of these theories, I feel like I'm going bananas. I feel like I'm going absolutely bananas because it's really fascinating. It makes you think about your day. It's like in how we segment our days. And it's like, why do we do that? Like, time is like, it's Sunday at 7:26 p.m. Eastern Standard Time where I am, but no, it's not.
Yeah, like what does that really mean?
Yeah.
Right? And I get it. We have to have schedules, and it seems like a 24-hour clock with the sun and the way things work here. But still, it didn't have to be that way. You could have
No.
said a day is two moon rises. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
We just decided to do it this way.
Well, with this administration, who knows? It may change. Anything's possible.
Seriously. They might just blow up the sun for no reason.
Who knows?
We're just gonna nuke the sun. That'll
Yeah,
stop global warming. We'll just get rid of the sun. Sun's the problem.
don't give him any ideas, Adele. He might be
Oh
like,
God.
really
You
good
might be like,
idea, actually. I got
oh,
this
I
idea
get
from
it.
this scientist, Stormy Willow.
The
No, do not say
science
her
said
name. We're not even scientists.
we're not even journalists.
No, I mean, we're really not professionals at anything except for being idiots.
That's
Well,
really
I'm the professional idiot, not Adele Smart, but I'm a professional idiot.
I teach idiocracy.
I do have a PhD
I teach.
in being a dumbass and
Oh
telling
boy.
spooky stories.
Speaking of dumbasses, should we see what topic we get for next
Yeah,
week?
let's do it.
All
All
right.
right, did I nail what you had in mind for the WTH or F?
Yes, that was exactly what I was expecting. Just something kind of mind-bending.
Cool.
But now let's see what the hell I'm going to be covering next
We'll
week.
see.
Here we go.
All right.
All right, mystery it is. I
I
don't think
love a
I've had
good
one of those in a
mystery.
while.
Yeah, it has been a while.
Yeah, I don't remember the last mystery we even had.
I don't either have to look at our show notes. I don't remember. But yeah, I'm excited. It's been a while since we've had a mystery. So you'll send us
Yeah,
out in March and into April with a good old mystery. Maybe the Easter Bunny. What is the Easter Bunny?
maybe. I could probably find a scary Easter bunny.
You probably could.
Night of the Lepus. We'll be talking about that film, and that'll that'll be the mystery.
Paul's favorite.
It's even in the Matrix. What can I say?
I've really, every episode we've done, and I think this is like 139 or 138, it always comes back to the Matrix.
But anyway, I
Yes.
digress.
Yeah, you do, but I love it. Watch The Matrix.
I'm hearing that some of these Gen Z kids have never seen The Matrix.
Watch The
You
Matrix.
need to watch The Matrix.
I might watch The
Watch it.
Matrix. I feel like I need a refresher.
I mean, it's just so great. Just the concept of it. You can apply to
I feel
anything.
like it's probably aged well. too.
It has because, and a lot of people are saying that like maybe in the Matrix, society peaked in 1999 and then ended. And a lot of people are like, maybe it did.
I might check actually.
And
I
then
need to go back and watch
why the
it.
Matrix holds up too is they're like, we don't know what time period it is. We think it's the 2000s, but it could be more like the 2500. Who knows? We lost track of time because of the machines when we had died under the ground. Oh, it's so
Again,
you're missing. You're missing.
I really feel like it might hit different though now. Me watching it. I don't think I've watched it in like since probably it came out.
Probably. It's fantastic.
But I bet it will hit me so differently now.
It has such stay power. It's amazing.
Well, that's everybody's homework. Watch The
Go watch the
Matrix.
fucking Matrix.
Watch The
You just
Matrix.
wait until I get the WTF topic. It's going to be the Matrix.
You better watch it before then, guys.
Like,
It's like, let's get ready to discuss. Well, guys, as we say here on our podcast, please stay safe out there
stay curious.
and never trust the living.
Mm-hmm. Everyone in the Matrix could be an agent until they're unplugged. Just remember.
You never know. You never know. Bye, you guys.
Play potatoes.